Last night, Venerable Semken and I went to a meeting in Newport, and it was having to do with the Kalispel tribe of Indians making a request to have a new category of clean air. And just being at this meeting had just struck me in very deep ways. And so it started me thinking about a whole bunch of things. And I'm going to start off with this little chart here. So, we always talk about, the mind is beginningless and endless. Eventually, hopefully, we'll all become fully awakened. And there's this very long thing going on that throughout the day I lose track of. And then I realize that I'm quite goal-oriented at times. Not all the time, but, then I think about, well, this life, and what will I achieve by the time of my death? And then when it gets shorter, every year we sort of have a New Year's look at things. And so what did I accomplish in 2018? Then if I'm sort of having the time, which I don't have much of, or I think I don't, sometimes I'll reflect on, what did I actually accomplish this month? And I'm always looking at the end point, this week. What did I do this week? What did I do today? And then if I'm lucky, and I actually get to the bathroom and I clean the toilet, did I get it done? Can I check it off my list? So my mind is always looking at checking things off and what happened when I'm at that end point. And so I just want you to think about that for a minute, and I'm going to shift gears. And I want you to be very honest if you care to. And now we're going to think about, what do we do when we don't get what we want, when we're not in charge of our mind and our afflictions are running the show? What is our afflicted response to not getting what we want?
I blame myself for screwing up.
Okay.
To get it anyway. To get it anyway.
To get it anyway, right. To just push through and get it.
Typically, I just go into self-critical talk to an extreme.
We can write that email and send it and not show it to our friends to check to see if it's fair or not. Then slip in a little accusatory little note there and hit the send button. Yeah.
I blame those who I believe have obstructed me from getting what I want. So my finger starts to point outwards.
Okay, let's just think about some of these responses. If you're watching this video, you can think about what you do. Now I'm going to switch gears again. So in the last year and a half, we've been learning about this proposed smelter for the Newport area. It's absolutely something we don't want. We don't want it. And there's moments where we can all think that the people who want to build it and the people who want to allow this process to come into being are perhaps the enemy, right? So, but last night at this meeting, which wasn't actually about the smelter, it was this very formal process, as part of the process of the tribe, getting this air quality designation of 1, where they were just inviting people from the community to give their response to Venerable Semke's and I. Big surprise, the EPA is about to grant this. But this is a formal process where they invite the community, the members of the community, the county, to give their feedback about this. So there were about 75 people in attendance, and a number of people gave comments. They were very well prepared. The tone was very warm. It was all supportive for the Kalispel tribe, because everyone there knows about the generosity of the tribe in this county. But at the same time, people were not remiss to mention the negative impacts of the proposed smelter on our air quality. And in addition, there's this actual fact in the county that we have frequent air inversions where we get these air stagnation warnings. And now we have a number of weeks a year where there's wildfire smoke, which makes our air quality absolutely in the hazardous zone, which is sometimes the worst in the entire state. So this puts everyone at risk, not just the elderly, not just the fragile, it puts everyone at risk. And everyone who spoke was just speaking from their heart and talking about their love of the beauty of this county and how it was so important to preserve and protect this. And they did it in a very graceful way. There was no anger last night. There was no accusations. There was none of that. It was just people coming together and sharing their joy about the fact that this air quality is going to be granted and that they fully support it. So then I was thinking about this whole process that we've been in since last August of 2017. And despite the fact we're all sort of focused on, we don't want this smelter. This is going to be a disaster. When I was thinking about what we've gone through in the past 16 months, however long it's been, actually what we've been through is a process of making friends in the community, seeing people see us and having appreciation for each other, and they know who we are. And so, I see that it's a two-way thing. They're seeing beyond the robes. They're seeing there's a person in there with a very short haircut. And we see the people in Newport and Sandpoint and all the members of the, county, the people from Idaho State. We're seeing each other on a much deeper level. And there's appreciation, hey, we're in this together. It's not like war. It doesn't feel like that at all. It's not like us and them and that's the enemy we have to defeat. But actually it's this journey that we're all in together. And so in moments I'm thinking, of course I don't want the smelter, but this thing that is so negative has had so many positive repercussions in what we're learning about each other and ourselves, the process, how to write letters, how to reach out to the government officials, how to make our voice known, and in a very elegant and hearable way. One of the people who spoke last night, she's an Idaho resident. The Idaho residents are very, very worried because their voice at this point kind of matters less. So she spoke about that. I'm sure she has children. And then she did a rap. And the rap was just great. And it wasn't a nasty rap. It was just a rap about, the beauty of the county that has to be preserved. And so, of course, everyone clapped. So it's just astounding to me that I can live my life, and maybe this happens to you in moments, where I'm always looking at the end point. This life, this year, this month, this week, how can I possibly get through cleaning the toilet in the fastest amount of time possible without having a mediation session pretty soon, because that's where we're headed, about you're not getting all the details in the toilet, Samson. And so, we can live our life like this. We go to the end point, and then we miss everything in between. What a loss that is, right? What a loss. And so I'm not rejoicing that there's a proposed smelter. But what it has brought the community and the people of Pend Oreille County is just interactions I would have never imagined in a million years. And we can see that throughout the day. We don't get what we want, or we get what we don't want, right? And if we just focus on that, and not how we got there or how we're going to move through it, then it's a tragic waste of our human life and our potential. And there's all this opportunity to put into practice what we're learning from the Dharma teachings and to see the opportunities in every moment and not just check things off a list. So I didn't really follow my script here. But I think if we can just remember this, and maybe do your own chart and notice how you're checking things off, and pay more attention to the interactions and what we're building between each other, it'll be a great life.
Can you explain what this class 1 thing means? What is that?
Sure.
What does the designation mean? And then what does that mean for the tribe? And what impact does that have on the smelter conversation?
I'll do my best, and then maybe Venerable Semke can help me out. So, This redesignation to Class 1 will result in lowering the allowable increases of particulate matter, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides in the air on the Kalispell Indian Reserve. So there's 3 classes of air quality. There's 3, there's 2, and then there's 1. This is what the national parks have and the wildlife areas, wilderness areas and national parks have in this country and Canada right now. This means you can only pollute that much, very little in fact. 2 is where most of the world is at, so you can pollute much more, and this allows the EPA to permit polluters. And then there's a few areas, I don't know where this is, but if you're at a 3, you're kind of hooped, because you can just go for it, full tilt with polluting. Now, the other very good thing that I have to check about this is that the 1 designation, we think, has a 100-kilometer radius. So I don't want to say something and make a mistake in this talk, but that's our impression, that this goes beyond the border of the tribal area, which has a very positive impact on preventing something like a silicone smelter. And so this is fabulous, and this means actually nothing can be done, hardly at all, as far as polluters go. Is there anything else from Osemke?
And since Newport and the rest of, they've got about 4,500 acres, the Kalispell tribe, is that we're at number 2. If that smelter would come, if started to affect their Class 1 level, it would impact the smelters operating, because they can't adulterate that Class 1 quality. So I think Phyllis Cardos last night said that PacWest has already decided only to do 2 stacks, not 4. So that's, and most of the countries into, and then the tribes are, they're one of the few entities that can actually apply for a Class 1. Some state parks can, some state governments can, but it's mostly the feds with their national parks, their national seashore, their wildlife areas. So, and this encompasses the Selkirk Range. It encompasses some wilderness statewide up to the north of Priest Lake. So Tracy was all over that with her testimony last night. Was really very hopeful, and at least it's going to be able to keep an eye if it happens. It will really affect their capacity to function. It may.
Venerable Semke, you mentioned PacWest is going to 2 stacks, not 4. What is a stack?
The furnace, smokestack. And we're going to go for no stacks in a very kind and gentle manner. Okay. Oh. We can splice you in.
I was just going to say that I appreciate your talk. It made a lot of sense, and it reminded me of the saying that it's not about the destination, it's actually the journey. And in many ways, that's really what mediation's about, is that it's not really about the outcome at the end, a settlement, but it's actually about the process of getting there and having the conversations and having the relationships. So thank you.
Thank you.